What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel. Check out the content. And with that being said, man, I want to speak on my Baltimore Ravens. I want to, and more specifically, John Harbaugh. Right? This is, I'm not sure how long John Harbaugh been with the Baltimore Ravens, but I'm thinking that John Harbaugh is definitely, or if he's not, he should be on the hot seat. The Ravens right now are 1-3, and almost at the bottom of the AC, at the AFC, right? Right ahead of Miami, and they're right ahead, right above Miami and Cleveland, and the Jets and teams like that. When you have somebody, the talent that John Harbaugh have on his team, no way they should be 1 win and 3 losses. And right now at 1-3, the Ravens are basically out of the playoffs. I mean, they would have to have a miraculous turnaround in order for them just to make the playoffs, the wild card. And I'm not thinking this is going to do that. I'm not thinking that that's going to happen. Like with the Ravens, and I said even before the season went in, like people were talking about how good the defense was. I was never sold on the defense. The Ravens defense, if you watch football for yourself and you don't listen to the analysts and all those other guys on it, the Ravens have always their defense since since who left? Since Ray Lewis and Ed Reed left, the Ravens defense has kind of been, in my opinion, just the middle of the pack. They say the Ravens defense is good at stopping the run and all that. But throughout the years, you have seen when teams when they needed to run against the Ravens, they were able to run against the Ravens. And so, you really, in my opinion, you got to watch, the games for yourself. Now, with that being said, not only are they not really as strong against the run as people say they are, their cornerbacks are not even all that good, man. I just get so pissed off at the guy Humphreys, who been with the Ravens for a good while and still making he's still getting everybody get burned, but like some of the mistakes that he make on there, like hitting people, after the play is over with, or he'll get caught out of position and somebody will make a big play on him. Like, in my opinion, Humphreys should be, since he's the veteran on that defense in that secondary, Humphreys, in my opinion, should be somebody that is like the settling force back there, like the guy who people want to stay away from, but it's not like that. I watched in the last game, let me see who they play. I watched Kansas City just go at Humphreys, Marlon Humphreys. They went after him constantly, right? And so that to me is I'm not sold. I was never sold on Marlon Humphrey. He stay hurt. Then when he's not hurt, like I said, quarterbacks just pick on him. Opposing deep offenses don't have any fear of Marlon Humphreys and that Ravens secondary. They just don't. And when you saw this last past week, they played against the Kansas City Chiefs, like even the Chiefs who don't have they got Foxworthy back this week. And he did good. But before Foxworthy came back, they really didn't, the receivers for Kansas City really wasn't much to talk about. You got Jason, you got Kelsey, who is really getting up in age, and he's not the receiver that he was, the tight end that he was in years past. But the Ravens, and I blame all this on the coaching staff. I blame all this on the coaching staff. Like it's how hard is it to defend Jason Kelsey when you know that he's not the receiver that he was. The Ravens defense, man, is just terrible. And then when you go to the offensive side of the ball, even though Henry what's his name? They call him King Henry. Even though the running back Henry fumbled a couple times, like I seen him sitting standing on the sidelines, looking like he wanted to definitely be in there. And the Ravens went away from the rush. I think that's where the Ravens' success is. Come thick or thin, that's where your success is. You gotta get there. I forgot what Henry's first name is, but anyway, you gotta get him back in there, and he could. He been doing pretty good for the last few years that the Ravens had him, and to have him standing on the side, and then you go with a bunch of, I don't know, like no name running backs who not anywhere as good as him. I think that was a big mistake, right? Like I said, he fumbled 2 weeks in a row. But the thing about that is, for 2 years in a row, he's been putting up good numbers. Then all of a sudden, the Ravens just go away from him, and that's one thing I don't like about the Ravens. They are not consistent on their offense. Like they need to be consistently running the ball. If you stop, if their teams anybody stop the Ravens running, say like you might stop them for a couple, for a quarter or a little while. I mean, that's you immediately. It's so easy to turn the Ravens away from that running game, which is their bread and butter. Then I don't get it. I just don't get it. They didn't run enough. They haven't been running enough, really, anyway. And they got Lamar Jackson just throwing too many times. They got him throwing too much. I think, with Lamar Jackson, you gotta pick and choose when you can run the ball. Like I like the fact that when the running game is strong, then that keeps the defense honest, right? So what you gotta do is you gotta respect that running game. So you're gonna pull everybody up closer to that line because you got Henry back there. But the Ravens are not doing that. Like I said, if you stop their running games for a couple downs, next thing you know, they try to turn Lamar Jackson into Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes or something like that, and that's just not his game. Whenever you make Lamar Jackson one dimensional, you can have success against the Ravens because now what teams are doing, they're not even like, and I seen it in Buffalo. I seen it in the Buffalo game, and I also seen it in the Detroit game. Everybody who has beaten the Ravens, they not even they don't they drop. I think they drop 4 players, and everybody else is just you know focusing on the running game. But you still have to run the ball in order to keep it to keep that defense honest. I think that the Ravens, and Lamar, like I never seen Lamar get sacked as much as he's getting sacked right now. I think Detroit sacked Lamar 7 times, and I don't know how many times Kansas City sacked him, but I never seen him get sacked as many times as he's getting sacked now. Number one, Lamar is not as he's not as elusive as he used to be. And then on top of that, like I said, there's really no lanes for Lamar to run through. So they have to continue, in my opinion, the Ravens have to continue to pound that ball and pound that ball into those big linemen and those running backs. They don't want to see Henry, for an entirety of a game. And then you mix it up with some those RPO plays and have Lamar, like pitch the ball or fake like he's gonna run it. But you cannot allow these teams to dictate what you do out there. The Ravens are not really, in my opinion, they're not really all that good. Whereas though they can determine like how they're going to beat you, or they can say like, well, all right, they're giving us the passing game, so we're going to pass. It's not working like that. The wide receivers most of the time are one on one and still can't beat anybody. So I think John Harbaugh really, in my opinion, should be on the hot seat. Um, Lamar Jackson, when he came into the league, uh, John Harbaugh was already on the hot seat, right? because the Ravens were on a decline. Then they had Joe Flacco, who his best days was behind him, and John Harbaugh. People was talking about John Harbaugh need to be on the high seat. So they took a chance with Lamar. Lamar put a spark to the team, and that has extended John Harbaugh's career another 8 years. So now I'm thinking that that John Harbaugh, in my opinion, man, should be on the hot seat. John Harbaugh really got to go. I know that John Harbaugh is from that Andy Reid coaching tree, but he ain't nothing like Andy Reid. He had a long career, as a head coach, and he's been okay. But John Harbaugh, in my opinion, man, I never really thought John Harbaugh was a great coach. He just don't seem to make the adjustments. Like in the Ravens, they try to force their identity. When I think the Ravens' identity is defense, and the Ravens' identity is running. That's how it is in the AFC North, anyways. It's defense and running. Even the Cleveland Browns, they got a tough defense. The Steelers, tough defense. Cincinnati, tough defense. But the Ravens defense is not like that. You can throw on them. You can, when you want to run on them, you can do that too. So, yeah, man, it's just crazy for Ravens fans right now. 1-3. Let me see who the next team they play. All right, so they play the Houston Texans. I don't know if they're gonna beat them. Then they got the Rams. I think that Chicago game, they play Chicago. They probably, I don't know. They should be able to beat Chicago. Then you got Miami. They should be able to beat Miami. But it's not looking good. Like I see a couple more losses like immediately coming up for the Ravens. So yeah, man, I'm ready for John Harbaugh to move on. He just been doing the same old things. Uh, I haven't seen any progress in the Ravens. You know, I think it's just a situation, like I said, Lamar Jackson, because of the success he has had, has been able to extend John Harbaugh's his career. And so that's the way I see it. But y'all make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment. Let me know what you think about John Harbaugh, and do you think he should be on the hot seat? Uh, and with that being said, I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.